G'day folks, welcome to an Oz Cyclone Chasers Queensland weather app. Today, the 12th of the 1st, 2023. My name's Chris Nitzo. This update brought to you by our major sponsor, TownsvilleSheds.com. Check them out if you're in the market for a shed-safe, accredited shed. Alrighty, this morning we've got a broad area of turning associated with a multifaceted low pressure system. So there's a weak low at the surface back here to the northwest, and then as we go up in the atmosphere, that low is centred further to the southeast. It's all very complicated, but in the end result is it's going to result in enhanced rainfall across the central interior parts of the state. Across North Queensland, we've got a little bit of shower activity coming in, some of it locally heavy at times, coming in on this northeasterly flow. We saw some very heavy falls of rain yesterday to the southwest of Mackay, up to 200 and something millimetres has been recorded, with general widespread falls of 50 to 150 in the Mackay area. We also get a little bit of light patchy rain coming off all of the deeper convection from yesterday and overnight, pushing down into the Capricornia region, even into southeast Queensland. There a bit of that very light rain. This morning we've also started to see some storms around the Gulf country, eastern parts of the Gulf country, and overnight last night we saw quite a bit of rain activity up around the tip of the tip. We saw some fantastic rainfall on the northeastern Cape associated with slow-moving convection, with falls in excess of 100 millimetres being recorded. Some locally heavy falls this morning around the Burdekin area, thanks to the Bureau of Meteorology for this model, for this chart, by the way. Down around the Mackay region, as I mentioned, those big falls around that 50 to 150. You can see Fenner's Road there with 222, very significant rainfall. Further southwards also, not just in Mackay, but places like Kumala got some very good rainfall too, around 150 there. Also, that area that we talked about yesterday, Longreach to Emerald. Look at those big numbers across that part of the world. Fantastic rain for them. Right, so this trough and associated low pressure region, you can see it just in here across central inland Queensland, pushing up into northwest Queensland. That's expected to be very slow moving through most of the day today. Then this evening and tonight, it's going to duck a little bit further towards the west and northwest. And so it's going to take a lot of the heavier rainfalls a little bit further west and northwest into this region of inland Queensland. Across the coastal fringe, you would have noticed there's a lot of squeezing going on between different air masses. There's a northerly air mass squeezing with a northeasterly one, and there's a southeasterly air mass squeezing with an easterly one. And that squeezing effect is going to result in some pretty significant falls of rain over the next 24 to 48 hours in that coastline between around that Mackay to Burdekin area. And we're going to see that progressively shift northwards by the end of tomorrow into early Saturday to the Herbert Burdekin region on Saturday. So the expectation is that we're gradually shifting that heavier rainfall further to the north as we progress through the next 24 to 48 hours. We haven't seen the big stuff yet though. The big stuff, and I mean the really big stuff, that's coming on the weekend. Rainfall forecast for the rest of today till midnight tonight. You can see those heavy falls of rain associated with that convergence and that squeezing associated with that weak low in that central inland parts of the state. So you can see nice falls north of Emerald, north of Longreach, particularly being the focus and target of those areas of convection and convergence. Further northwards, we see slow moving but widespread showers and thunderstorms across the far northern interior. We also see potential for widespread showers and thunderstorms across Cape York Peninsula, and we see significant shower activity likely around the Mackay Whitsundays coastline, the Burdekin coast, and potentially the Whitsundays coast as well. So these areas here, highly variable rainfalls, and a lot of the time our global models won't pick up the right sort of rainfall intensities for some of this shower activity. We just saw in the air region this morning falls in excess of 50 millimetres in an area that was probably expected to get about 10 to 20 millimetres. So that's the sort of stuff we're dealing with. A lot of the time these global models just aren't good enough to pick up the intensity of rainfall, but they're pretty good at picking up sort of where the rainfall's likely to be. Tomorrow, the focus of our weather shifts a little bit further northwards, up into the Burdekin Whitsundays area. Falls in excess of 100 millimetres are quite possible in that Burdekin Whitsundays Townsville district by the end of tomorrow night. We see the expectation of these showers and thunderstorms being widespread again across the central interior. If anything, though, as the day progresses tomorrow, with the passage of that low a little bit more towards the northwest, we'll start to see a bit more clearing activity down through this region, and we'll push that rainfall further northwards tomorrow. Widespread showers and thunderstorms right around Cape York Peninsula, and a bit of junk activity potentially down around the central and southeast regions. Just from this big convective development here, we might see some of the waste products, the upper level clouds, just sort of pushing across, dumping a little bit of very light patchy rain. And there's also some isolated showers and thunderstorms around southern Queensland we haven't really talked about. Not much rain in those, but there could be some gusty winds associated with those both this afternoon and tomorrow afternoon. There's a major flood watch that should be in operation by, I guess, through the weekend. I'm not the bomb, so I don't make those decisions, but there should be significant flood watches out there for this coastal region between the Ingham area and down towards the Mackay region. We're likely to see falls in excess of 200 millimetres over the next 3 days, or 3 to 4 days, and likely to see those falls probably up around 400 or 500 millimetres in isolated pockets of the coastline. And we're also likely to see significant rainfall through inland parts of this region, so into the catchment areas too is the possibility of some very significant rainfall too. So keep your eyes peeled on the Bureau of Meteorology website for those flood watches as they come out, and or severe thunderstorm warnings and possible severe weather warnings for this section of coastline as we get into the weekend. Remember the big stuff, it doesn't hit us until the weekend. And zooming into this region, you can see the rainfall expectations today versus the rainfall expectations tomorrow leading into Saturday morning versus the rainfall expectations Saturday morning leading into Sunday morning. So you can see quite clearly a big increase of rainfall progressively over the next 24 and then 24 to 48 and then 48 to 72 hours, peaking around about Saturday or late Saturday or Sunday. As I say, keep your eyes and ears peeled on the Bureau of Meteorology website for the future warnings coming up for this particular massive rain event. If you'd like all the nitty-gritty details about all the different locations and what they can experience over the next 48, 72, 96 hours and beyond, head over to join.ozcyclonechasers.com.au. Check out our subscription options if you'd like to support our work and gain access to those very in-depth updates. Have a wonderful day. Prep yourselves for that rain. I'll talk to you tomorrow.